It is wonderful to be here. Wonderful to see such a great turnout on this day. And great to have the opportunity that we can work together. Work together towards what we are doing. And what we're doing is building a nation. You know that? Are you aware that we're building a nation? That if we do what we're doing properly and well, it is a nation that we will be building. Today, I want to pick up the theme of leadership from our morning text this morning. And at your tables, just have a conversation with those on the tables. What did you hear this morning? And how is this going to impact me? Go ahead. Okay, so let's get some feedback from the tables.
One of the main things that came from our table is the fact that we need to work with each other. Working, trying to empower each other, trying to build each other, trying to find talent, and trying not to pull down each other like crabs in a barrel. So that is one of the main things we try, even with our members of staff, we try to build them, make leaders out of them. So that is what we generally came out of our discussion.
Thank you very much. What about this table?
Well, we will add to Miss, and we said that our leadership style should be one that is open to critique so we can grow. Because if people can't be comfortable enough to come to us to tell us when we are going wrong, then we are just stagnating our growth, and nothing good could come from that. So when Nicholas went to Saul, his dad, to critique his treatment to Saul or of Saul, Saul was listening and transformed. Thank you.
Very good. So I'll go down in the other side of the room. I ain't saying front or back, Just the other side.
All right. What we discussed was the fact that a leader must accommodate the type of relationships with staff members so that they can give feedback. They can say, well, similar to what my colleague said, that people must feel free enough to say to you, miss or sir, I don't really agree with that plan, or miss, maybe you can tweak the plan a little bit. So we spoke about sharing our visions with staff members and getting buying, basically. Thanks.
Thank you very much. A table of two.
Well, we almost said the same thing they were saying, because we were saying one of the messages we discussed when we heard about the reading with Saul and David and also Jonathan and the jealousy. We say as leaders, we have to be able to take what we call constructive criticism and build on it and be open, because as leaders, once we are open, we'll create cooperation and leadership amongst others. Because they say when you create leaders amongst others, then your team, as a teamwork, you'll be able to build on it, and then your workload will be much easier.
Wonderful. Over here, they have a table trying to hide in a corner.
We basically shared similar points to what the other speakers just said, but I think what resonated with us here was the fact that as leaders, we need to understand that we don't know it all, so that we have to be able to humble ourselves sometimes, take a step back and listen to what others are saying to us so that we could then come back and make informed decisions in the best interest of everyone else.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. What we would have come across basically boils down to simply one word. We all must be able to accept the fact that we must listen. Leaders must be able to listen to what the persons who are he or she is responsible for, because listening is going to assist in tweaking whatever decisions that he or she would have to make everybody else a bit happy.
Very good. Anyone else? Anybody burning for a response? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. What our group actually were trying to go beyond a little bit was the crab in the barrel effect and the jealousy. We were trying to find solutions how to deal with that and to rise about that and to try to stop it. Now, one of our colleagues said, which is quite true, as leaders, we have to make some tough decisions, and everybody may actually be against the particular decision. But then you are guided by your regulations and you are guided by the laws and everything else. So you know the decision that you have to make. So sometimes it is better that you call everyone and explain so that they understand. And when that happens, then it would stop them from pulling you down, because then they start to understand that. And then we try our best to get them going with you, because as a leader, you might be making all of the tough decisions, yes, but then you need your staff. You can't be there all by yourself. So there's a little touch of a balance there. So you really got to have that communication and you have to build trust. I agree with Sir when he's talked about you have to listen, because when you make mistakes, then you got to admit, hey, look, I'm sorry, and then let's start again and come up with a new solution. So you've got to try to stop the crab in the barrel effect. And we're trying to get solutions to stop that. So that's what we were trying to discuss on this table. Thank you.
Thank you.
We just wanted to add that one of the things that we looked at as well is that the culture of jealousy affects our children as well. And probably that is something we have to look closer at when we are trying to deal with bullying.
In addition, we must strive for a culture of excellence and not settle for one of mediocrity, because as it is, this larger society seems to be settling for that. We are responsible for the future adults. So if we set that example for excellence from now, hopefully our future in better hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have a burning desire to say something? Yeah?
Our reaction should not be dictated to by someone else's action. David did not react aggressively towards Saul, even though Saul was after him. And as leaders, we have to remember, whatever we do it in love, and we do it for the betterment of the children. So forget about the personalities who are attacking you. The end. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. So we had some interesting learnings this morning from those readings. And at the heart of it and under all of it is something we could call emotional intelligence. You all have heard that term? Emotional intelligence. That someone who is emotionally intelligent would not have acted the way that Saul acted. You could agree with that? And someone who is emotionally intelligent would have been able to take David's talents and bring it in. You agree with that too? Okay. And somebody who was emotionally intelligent would have been able to deal with the conflict a lot better than the way Saul dealt with it. You agree with that too? So how do we build this capacity we're calling emotional intelligence? Is something is go to the corner shop and buy? Huh? You have ideas about it? You do? Okay, I've given you 3 minutes on the table. How do you build emotional intelligence? Go ahead. I see somebody Google it. Somebody Google it. I see somebody went and Google the thing, boy. Pass the phone down and say, read that. Yes. 21st century education. That's what we're calling it. 21st century education. Ideas? We have ideas?
First, in order to have emotional intelligence, you have to know yourself. What triggers you? Next, we said you have to have empathy.
Could we ask down there that we take a list of what we're hearing here? Because I think it would be useful to send back to people after. So go ahead.
So first we discuss, the first thing that you must have is knowing yourself. You need to know what triggers you, right? And 2, empathy. You must know empathy. You must be able to read body language and how to reach out to others.
Wonderful. What about this table here?
Good morning and Happy New Year all. For me, building, or for us, excuse me, intelligent at all, I agree with you. Emotional intelligence, to build emotional intelligence, starting with yourself. You look at the experiences you have had in your life, and you have to take time to do introspection. And it helps to build and strengthen you, and to help you to be empathetic with others. You learn how to walk in another man's shoes, in other words. Or woman. Thank you.
A table that has some answers for us. Let me see you. Where are you? Come on. You mean you're making me come by you? Huh? So the rule is no repeating. If you've heard something already, we're not repeating.
Just to be a little controversial, on some occasions you have to be real. Some occasions you have to be real. No, I'm saying, well, when you're controlling your emotions and all of that, that takes a lot of stress, eh? Because sometimes you want to blow, but you're trying to control yourself. We are all human. We are all human. And sometimes a situation might call for a little stronger response, I believe.
So does emotional intelligence mean being fake? I'm trying to understand this. Okay, so does emotional intelligence mean being perfect? Always having it together? Oh, okay. I was just checking. Huh? No, no, no. From my perspective, it don't mean all of that. I saw hands up right over on this side here.
We just wanted to add that in getting to know yourself, one of the things we need to practice is reflection, reflexivity. And Your Grace, if you don't mind, we want to make a plug here for the examen. We think that that is one way something that we can use to be a bit reflective. And also we must practice mindfulness. We don't do things thoughtlessly, but we think about what we are doing and why we are doing it.
That was a paid advertisement.
Morning, everyone. I was just listening to what everyone was saying, and at the same time, I'm thinking that we need to be aware that we have choices. That sometimes when we get emotional, we fly off the handle and we do the first thing that comes to mind or instant reaction. But emotional intelligence would mean looking at your options and choosing the one that will hurt the least amount of people. And that's what I think emotional intelligence is.
Okay. Could somebody Google a definition of emotional intelligence for us? You Googled one already? You have one already? Hold on.
The capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically.
Read that again. There are some big words in it.
The capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. Emotional intelligence is the key to both personal and professional success.
Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah, you could give them a round of applause. Malcolm Gladwell, who is an out-of-the-box thinker. Anybody has ever read Gladwell? He's one of those thinkers that thinks totally outside the box. And he brings new perspective to things that everybody's thinking about, but he thinks about it in another way. He says that there was a survey, or there was a research on success. And the researcher looked at the 400 people who are the very top of the IQ range and tracked them over many, many, many years, from school right through to adults. And they were shocked that the success rate of that group was the same distribution curve as the rest of the society. You hearing this? That the people with the highest IQ were no more successful than the whole rest of than the average in the society. The same bell curve that you have, a few in the beginning, the mean, and then down at the end, same bell curve. And that led the researcher to say, but no, because we all assume that bright people are more successful, not so? No? Okay, good. Well, bright people are no more successful than other people. That's what the research said. So he said, well, if it is not IQ that is important, what is important? And they went to research all kinds of things. And then when they came against EQ, they realized people with high emotional intelligence are far more successful than the rest of the society. And if you want to test your children in primary school or secondary school with emotional intelligence, it's real simple. Bring a child into your office, have a nice cookie or cake on your desk, and say to them, listen, oh gosh, I forgot something, I'm going to leave. That cookie is really for you, you know. You could have it now if you want, but if you wait until I come back, I'll give you 2 cookies instead, and leave. If when you come back, the cookie is still there, then you know that that child has good emotional intelligence. If when you come back, that cookie gone, you know that child has very low emotional intelligence. It's not a difficult test to administer. What they usually do is go outside the room and look back in the room through a glass, a one-way glass, and you see children, some children don't even worry with the cookie, and other children kind of really bent out of shape, and other children trying to lick the cookie without biting it. One man said he would bite it from below the cookie, nobody gonna know. But you know emotional intelligence by the way the child interacts with the desire and has the capacity to delay gratification. It is putting a space between stimulus and response. You hearing that last one? We put a space between stimulus and response. The stimulus is that cake or cookie that's looking so good that you want right now. The response is eating the cookie, and the space is the time between the stimulus, the desire, and the response of eating. The more you can lengthen that time, the greater the capacity of the child to be successful. Everybody is with me on this one? Yeah, you sure? Eh? Yeah? So, success, and if you think of the children who are not doing well in your school, who do not have a learning problem, not the ones with learning problems, forget about those for now. A child that is not doing well, that does not have a learning problem, what is their space between stimulus and response? Is there any space at all? As they think it, they have to do it. Not so? So if as you think it, you have to do it, what's going to happen to that child ultimately? Huh? Very easily distracted. As a thought pops in his mind, he's going to act it out. They're not going to have the capacity for group work because he can't. Good. They're not going to be able to go home and do their homework because to do homework requires a space between stimulus and response. All you're going to fret up the child head whole day. The child gone home, what they want to do is go out and play. They want to go on the game and play. They want to watch television. They want to go and surf the net. They want to do all kinds of things. The last thing that they really want to do is your homework. And if they have no space between stimulus and response, they go home and that game is available. What's going to happen? Are you seeing now some of your children clearly? Are you seeing some of them very, very clearly? Huh? Yeah? If we're going to help those children to do what they can do, the first thing that they need to learn is not the alphabet or the numbers. The first thing they need to learn is how to put more space between the stimulus and the response. Everybody, is this logic 101? Is this making sense to you? Great. And putting that space between stimulus and response requires, in our time, concentrated action. You know, yesterday's children used to have to wait. All you know that? You see a nice thing you want, you go on by mommy and you tell mommy, I like that dress or pants or shirt or whatever it is, shoe or whatever it is, you like that and it was so nice and da 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 da. You could talk till the cow come home over the moon. And what was happening? Eh? And today's children, what happens with today's children? They will lie down on the ground in the mall and embarrass mommy till she buy that for them. Huh? Y'all with me? Okay. So if success is related to emotional intelligence, our schools have to become experts in teaching emotional intelligence to our children. Correct? Who here is principal of a school that has been doing badly for a long time? Don't feel shame. You are. Good. Which school is this? Where's St. David's? Kelly Village. And how would you describe your children in terms of emotional intelligence?
Well, many of them would want instant gratification, as I explained just now. And some of the situations you described were very similar to what I observed them doing, like with the homework and all that. So I guess if we do the test, they would have a lower IQ, emotional IQ.
Those who are, give me I want a principal of a school where the children always do very well. We have none of them here? Huh? I looking around the room. And you see the culture of mediocrity we're talking about? The person, one person with a school doing well, look, I want you to see how it happened. You know, they don't want to look good above everybody else, you know. Because if they look good above everybody else, you know what happening? We pulling them down one time. From the time they say, that school doing...
Newtown boys. Our boys do have a bit of emotional intelligence in that most of them would delay that gratification.
And those that don't, how are they doing in school?
Those are the ones that give any trouble and they will not do as well as the others. I have one child especially, he came into Standard 5 very weak, but he was always very, very well behaved. And I am amazed at how well he has been just progressing because of that same discipline that he always had.
Good. Let me give you a story on emotional intelligence. One of the things I did in my life was run a program called Marian House. It's a home for second chance. It's a second chance family for socially displaced young men. And in Marian House, we would take a guy whenever he came in, and we would make sure he got through school. We'd make sure he got some form of skill, a job, and then helped him to graduate and stand on his own 2 feet out. So we had kids there from all ages and up till 21, 22 usually. This young man had come to Marian House. He was living in a bus, an abandoned bus. Going to school because it was the only place that he could get food. And he would wash his clothes once or twice a week, put it back on and go back to school because that's where you're getting your food. And when we got him, he literally collapsed for 3 days and just slept for 3 days. Because at 13 years old, he was literally managing his own life with nobody helping him. Fast forward now, and he is 17, 18, came out of school, got a couple passes well, got him into electrical, got an apprenticeship for him. He's starting to work his first job. And the rule was, you live on a quarter of your pay, You contribute a quarter of your pay to the house, and you save a half of your pay for when you're ready to graduate. That was the rule. Now, how many of y'all doing that with your children? Come on. How many of you, your children have more disposable income than you know? You know that? No, think about it. Your income have to pay for everything that they need, and their income is to spend on what they want. And all it is that intelligent? Anyhow, that's a whole other story we're going to. We're not giving them the capacities. But anyhow, so this young man starts working, and all of a sudden, everything was a curse word. So I call him and say, come here. What's this cursing about? He said, cursing? I'm not cursing. I say, you just were, just now. He said, oh, no, sorry, Father, sorry. That's industrial language. You see, if I'm on the job site and I tell the fella, pass me the hammer, he wouldn't know what to do. I have to tell him, pass me the hammer, and I will get the hammer immediately. So you know that construction job sites don't have high emotional intelligence. Good. First paycheck, my boy come home with some dandy clothes. Real nice clothes. We sat down, we had the conversation. Hugh, you know how it works. A quarter, a half. Yeah. But go, Father, I mean, really, you know. I say, you know how it works? I'll give you one blind. Next week he come home. Another set of clothes. Had a long conversation. Told him, this is not going to work. Ready, right attack. Third week he came home. Guess what? Shoes. Some real nice shoes. If you see the nice shoes. Ready, right attack. Grounded him. Couldn't go out for the weekend, all kind of thing. Next week, guess what happened? A next pair of shoes. Well, that week, I went into his room with a nice bag. I said, Hugh, let me see these clothes you have. I took them out, I folded them nicely, and I put them in the bag. I took the shoes, I put them in the bag. And I took them away. I said, you're not getting these back until you show me that you are capable of being responsible as a young man. When you show me that, you'll get it back. Now, this was early December. When Christmas time came, he came to me before Christmas and he said, oh, go, Father Jason, I have a party to go to. You think I could get one of the outfits? I said, you mean you're asking me to borrow my clothes? That's what you're asking. I said, if you are behaving good and they tell me you are, I will give you one outfit, what date you want it, and when are you bringing it back? And it will come back washed. We agreed, he did it. He brought it back washed, put it away. And then by January, I gave him back 1, 2, 3, until he got back everything. When he got married, he had enough money saved to buy his appliances cash, and he had enough invested in a credit union to be able to get a loan to furnish his whole house when he got married. I just blessed their new rings after 20 years of marriage. Are you hearing me? That's emotional intelligence. What I did was give him the crash course. He cursed, he threatened, he said he go kill me, he said all kind of things. But 20 years later, new rings, and he's looking for me to do the blessing. So that's why I'm saying to you, we're not talking about soft love, okay? We're talking about tough love. To build emotional intelligence requires tough love. The one thing among the many things that separates students who are high performers from low performers is emotional intelligence. Can you see that? Huh? Can you see this? And if we know already it is a one thing, then we already know that if we want our schools to change its output, we have to change the input. And we have to now design our schools to build emotional intelligence. Everybody's good with this? Okay. And that is why I have asked every Catholic school to do meditation in the morning and the examen in the afternoon. That is why. I am convinced, I've seen it. I was in El Dorado Government Secondary School on Monday. We had 250 something children who are Catholic in that school. We got Form 1 to Form 6. We gathered them into the hall. I put them into meditation, and the principal and the teachers swear that I drugged their children, because they have no way in heaven or earth that them children could be that quiet for 5 minutes. And when I'm talking quiet, I'm not talking restless. I'm talking silence where you know it's a profound experience of silence. That's what I'm talking about. That capacity for silence, when it is built over 5 years in your school or 7 years in your school, every single day, and in the junior schools, when a child reaches to standard 4, you encourage that child over the Christmas holidays to keep the practice every day while they're home. And then over the Easter holidays, you do the same. And over the July, August, you ask them to do the same. If you get a child doing that on their own for the whole of Form 4 and Standard 4, Standard 5, when that child leaves you, that child is good to go. Everybody's with me on this? What Christian meditation does is it gives a child the capacity to build the inner self. It creates a response inside where you now have the capacity to separate stimulus from response. And it creates a capacity for encountering God. And if you have seen children in meditation, you know that it is not the absence of activity that is happening. It is actually something very profound that is taking place. Have you ever seen it? Huh? Have you seen it? Our Lady of Fatima School. Is the principal here? Yes. Good. You saw it?
At the beginning of this term, so we started. It's a bit of a challenge now, but we have started, and it is really, we are seeing a difference.
Thank you. They weren't sitting down on chairs. They were sitting down on the ground, leaning upon each other. And they went into meditation in really adverse conditions. And I know Miss wasn't quite sure what I did to her children. Because the children have the capacity to go to meditation. They have the capacity. But you know what the trick is? The adult leading them has to be meditating. Because if you are restless, if your spirit is restless, if you are all over the place, if you are living in the external world completely, and you are not developing your own inner world, if that is not happening, your voice is going to be exciting the children as opposed to bringing them down into the place of meditation. You hear me? Good. Wonderful. I am convinced if we do Christian meditation every morning for 5 minutes and the examine every evening just before children are dismissed, as the last period of the day. Make it a period. Don't put it into the last class. Rearrange your timetable and put the last 6 or 7 minutes as the examine. Lead it over the PA system. Have the class teacher sitting. The class teacher must not stand over the kids. The class teacher must sit and engage in the practice so that the teacher and the class are all engaging in the practice. When I did El Dorado on Monday, I sat down to lead the meditation. Now, that's a government school, eh? That's not a Catholic school. That's a school where the children were setting fires in the hallways up to not too long ago. It's a school with lots of gang activity and lots of truancy. So this is not one of our nice, pristine establishments. But these kids went into meditation. And I didn't stand up to supervise them. I sat down and meditated with them. That's the difference. Because if you're supervising them, it means that you do not believe that they're going to be praying. If you sit down to meditate with them, it means that I assume that you are going to be praying, and therefore I can close my eyes and pray with you. You with me on this now? Good. Our framework for Catholic education we're moving to a slightly different mission from anything you've seen before. Each student living their vocation in the world of 2049. You could get that one? You could put your head around that one? Huh? The first time somebody saw that, they said, you made a typo there. That's a typo. It's not a typo. A child entering your school right now in 2020, how old will they be in 2049? 29 years old. We are not forming children to live their vocation when they are students in our school. We are forming children to live their vocation as adults in the society. You understand the difference? And here's what we already know. Here's what we know. The change of technology is so rapid that the world of 2049, we will not be able to recognize it. Our most futuristic thinking is going to fall far, far, far short of anything that world is going to look like. Here's the other thing we know. We're going to have serious ecological challenges in 2049 because the rate of ecological disaster is amplifying as we go forward. And therefore, we have to be teaching our children ecological peace and how to be ecological stewards. This other thing that we know is that as the technology advances, the emotional intelligence diminishes. Do we know that? Are you seeing it? We also know that as the technology advances, the human spirit and the spirituality is becoming dwarfed. There's an inverse relationship between technology and spirituality right now. Are you all seeing that? Huh? And we also know that as the technology increases, the spirituality is dwarfing, the emotional intelligence is dwarfing, and the children are feeling more anxious, they're feeling more alone, they have more suicidal thoughts, and they are less grounded than any generation that we have ever had before. Are you all seeing that? No, tell me honestly. Don't do me a Saul madman ranting and raving and hearing what he talking about and all you shutting up and say, what wrong with that man, boy? He ain't talking about my children. Are you all seeing what I'm saying already? And what you've seen in the last 10 years, from 10 years ago to today, is child's play to the next 10. As the children become less grounded, less rooted, less at home in their skin, and more needy, more emotional, much, much more vulnerable, more depressed, with more suicidal tendencies, as that starts happening, we're going to be dealing with something that we're not yet prepared for. Are you all seeing what I'm seeing, or you're not? If you're not seeing it, I beg you, please tell me so. If you're not seeing it, tell me. Think back of the last 10 years, the child 10 years ago and the child you're getting now. Think of that difference. Are you all seeing a big difference? Huh? Just the last 10, eh? If you say the last 20, there's a bigger difference again. Not so? And I'm saying to you, we know already that the next 10 is going to be more than anything you've seen before. Because Moore's law says that technology doubles its power every 2 years. And this is compound interest, not simple interest. It doesn't double its power from what it was back then. From today to 2 years is double. That is doubled again after, and again after. It goes into power jumps that is beyond your wildest imagination. We know these things already. That's why we go into 2049. Because we have to be able to create a family of values that are being lived in our schools if we're going to anchor these children for the world that is coming and help them to live their vocation in that world. Everybody's good with me? You sure? Give me a conscientious objector now.
I agree, and I understand, and I'm all on board with you. In fact, I have started a while now the 5 minutes meditation, and the beginning of this term, I introduced the examination of conscience. But we do 1 minute. We started with for the examine. My problem is to get all my staff to buy in, to take what you have given me here with all the compassion and everything, and then to get them, to take it to them and get them on board and to do, because that is where I have a problem.
And I think we should give Trinity Television a round of applause. Yeah, just give them a round of applause. Because Trinity Television is here today. That means that a DVD is being made of this, which means that we could ask them to edit it, to tighten it, and put it online, on YouTube, which means that those who organize this and that email address that you gave to them, within maybe 3 weeks, they could send you an email with this video so that you can play this to your teachers and have the conversation among your teachers. How that sound? Huh? Does that sound reasonable to you? Great. We are heading into very different times. I would challenge you to read on emotional intelligence. I challenge you on that. There's a book titled Emotional Intelligence. That's always a great starter. And then there are other things, emotional intelligence for children, emotional intelligence in education. It goes on and on and on. Read on it first. Second, emotional intelligence is one part of it. Building the capacity for a relationship with God is the second part of it. And both of those parts are necessary. And Christian meditation does both parts. The examine does both parts. All of you have received the cards with the 6 questions. Cards with the questions on both sides. I've given it out at many different functions before. You all haven't got it? Okay. So we'll have to get some of those cards to them. Sorry, I didn't bring because I know I've given it out on many occasions. Ah, yes, you see? Miss have one right there. Let me just show them. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, you all have gotten this already? Anybody remembers where they have it? Eh? In which garbage pan, file, folder? Where you could look another one too. Come on, keep going. And it was specially designed as a credit card size so you could put it in your wallet so it could be with you wherever you are. But we will make sure and get out this term, we'll make sure and get some to you, for you and your staff. So here's what I want us to do. There is an app for that. Just download the app on your phone. It's WCCM. Download the app and you can then decide how long you want to meditate for. And once you decide how long you want to meditate for, all you then do, sit on your chair, take everything off your lap, off of whatever thing, get yourself free. So there are 3 parts to it. The first is your posture. Sit with your back as upright as you can get it first. Feet flat on the ground. Hands either facing down because you're letting go or facing up because you're receiving. Either way that's more comfortable, you do it. The second is become conscious of your breath. Just notice the breath for now. Don't do anything with it. Just notice it. And remember the word, Maranatha. Let's say the word together. Maranatha. And we break it into 4 syllables of equal lengths. Maranatha. And then we break it so that 2 syllables while we inhale, 2 syllables while we exhale, and in the break between them you space it and you keep slowing the breath down so it goes slower and slower, deeper and deeper. So it will be like ma ra na tha. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Did you feel that silence? You felt it? Did you realize that after the bell went, everybody just continued meditating anyhow? You realize that? Yeah, the bell went 5 minutes in. And I stopped you all after another 3. Which means that the 5 minutes was joke for all you. Which means you could meditate for longer than your children can. What are you feeling now? Peace. What else are you feeling? What else? Any other feelings? calm, peace, balance. Balance. This is how you fill up the inner reservoir, because you're depleting it whole day. Whole day you're depleting it. You wake up, and if you have kids, you start depleting it from the time you wake up. To get them out of the house, you're depleting. You get to school, you're depleting. But this is how you get back to fill it up. And it was a very simple instruction, correct? I really am asking this not because I have a bee in my bonnet or because I happen to be the patron for Christian meditation in the Caribbean. I'm asking this because I really believe that if we can give our children this formation consistently over their young life, we will give them a reservoir to deal with 2049. I really believe that. I want to do one more thing before I end. The examen is a very simple prayer. It's not the examination of conscience. It's different. And we'll get it to you. It's based on 7 questions. And it's looking back at your day from the time you woke up until now. So if this is the last period in the day, 7 minutes, you don't need more than that. Make a 7-minute period at the end. The last period of the day, and you start, what do you have to be grateful for today? What is there that has happened today that you are grateful for? You know our children lack gratitude. They even lack the capacity to see what they should be grateful for. And to connect children with gratitude, my word, every day, that's miracle. That's a miracle. The second question is, when were you the best version of yourself? And when were you not the best version of yourself since you woke up today? That's the second question. Everybody could reflect on that. And I'm sure you could think of something happened today where you were, yeah, that was a good version of me. And I'm sure you could think of something, that was not the best version of me. Correct? The third question is, think of a significant moment where you have had something, good or bad, that has happened, that you want to bring that to God. And speak to God about it. The fourth question is, what do I need to ask God's forgiveness for? What do I need to say sorry for? And you know, teaching children to say sorry is another miracle, eh? And then the fifth question, what is God inviting me to change? What's the invitation for change that God is giving to me? The sixth is, who do I want to pray for? And invite them to pray for mommy, daddy, brother, sister, a friend, granny. Pray for other people, other-centered now. And you end it with the Our Father. This can be led by on the PA in every classroom, with the teacher sitting in the classroom like the kids, and everybody entering into a ritual of ending the day. So we have a ritual to begin our day with the meditation, a ritual to end our day with the examen. St. Ignatius says, if a child or an adult does this prayer every day, they can never get far from God. And if we teach children how to pray this way, they wouldn't be far. A lot of what we have done is teach children prayers, correct? But that's not teaching them how to pray. We teach them prayers and to say prayers. What we want to do is get inside of them now and teach them how to build that inner capacity for relationship with God and give them that. I'm telling you, in 2049, they will thank you. They will really thank you, because they will have an inner capacity that most children or most adults at that stage will not have. I want to thank you again because I know the value of what you do. And I believe in what you do. What you do transforms the lives of children. There are teachers that I still remember when I was in school. One for my primary school and one for my secondary school, who changed my life simply because they believed in me and they were fair to me, because they saw me struggling in school and they decided not to call me names or to say how stupid, dotish, or illiterate I was. And they actually believed and looked at me and believed that I could actually do this thing that I felt I couldn't do at that stage. A teacher is someone that you remember for a lot. I'm sure you could think of a teacher that did something in your life. Can you think of one teacher that made an impact on you? And you are shepherding the teachers who are making the impact. And if we do that really, really well, then no child will be lost. And no child will be given over to the gang. And no child will be failing if we do what we do really, really well. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you do. And I really appreciate deeply the ministry that you have taken up in our church. Thank you very much.